and see what happens there. But anyways, as always, I like to take the first couple of minutes and talk to upstart dungeon masters, people that are interested in doing what we're doing online. Of course, we're using Roll20, the greatest thing invented since sliced bread. You can sign up for free. It doesn't cost you nothing. You don't have to pay for license fees. Your people that play don't have to pay for license fees. You just sign up, and that's great. And it's totally capable. You're going to be able to look at a wonderful map that I didn't make, of course. That's why it's wonderful. And so I found this online. Somebody had already made the map, so I'm going to load it in there. We're going to use it. Beautifully done. But anyways, let me talk at the people starting out looking to do these sort of things here. And of course, you can find all this on YouTube. I upload them up there. Just look for behind the DM screen. Just type that in YouTube. You can find a bunch of talks. I've been talking about how to be a DM and things that you can do. So while we're waiting for folks to roll in here, we are using a new chat system courtesy of Paul. He recommended it. We're trying it out tonight. Discord. It's a wonderful system so far. Really cool. Similarly to the one that I was previously recommending, made by Dolby, actually, called Axon. Very interesting thing. So it's similar to that. It's totally free, kind of like TeamSpeak or whatever, but you don't have to pay for it. It does give you flexibility, options, things like that. We do have multiple rooms, so if people disappear and you don't hear anybody talking, they're talking behind our backs. So just if you're paranoid, well, don't let it get to you. They're not talking about us, or are they? But anyways, very quickly, let me just run through some things here. If you're not going to play on Roll20, if you're going to play old school and play with your buddies around a table, more than likely as a dungeon master, you're going to have a screen, some way to hide what you're doing so the players don't see exactly what's happening. And so I never really found one that I liked, so I made my own. And surprisingly, I went on YouTube and I actually found some videos of people that followed suit and did exactly the same thing I did. Or was it the other way around? But anyways, the case being, and this is kind of what I did. I just, like nowadays, even though I got all the Roll books, I've got everything that was put out for D&D ever since it started. I've been converting over stuff that I don't normally use on a regular basis into PDFs, so you can get them online. You can, there's a whole bunch of different places you can buy them from. And the PDF is just much quicker. My library is like massive, so I've got everything that's ever been created. I like the PDFs. Of course, I like having it hardbound, the actual physical hard copy of the book. I do have that on hand. You guys have seen my library; it's pretty extensive. But my PDF library dwarfs that. It's even bigger than that. I've got all the adventure modules. That's why we're in a hurry to play these games, because there's a ton of them, and they're all good. They're all great, the greats. So, but anyways, I never really liked what I saw. So, but in having this, the player's handbook in a PDF, you can use websites online that'll convert a PDF into images. Believe it or not, you don't have to have Adobe Acrobat Professional solely for that. You can actually do it online. You just Google it, PDF to PNG or even JPEG converter, online converter, and you go to this website and you plug it in. It'll ask you what's the PDF, and you just click your player's handbook or whatever you're using, your rule book, and you said what do you want to convert it to. I want to convert. Normally, I used to be heavy into JPEGs and things like that until I found the PNG is lossless, which means that it doesn't make a smaller file size at the expense of quality. So I'll just pick that. I'll say PNG, and you wait for a minute, and boop, and when it's done, it'll say you can download it. And a lot of times it'll let you download it as an archive or a zip file. So in other words, you don't have to sit there and click every damn page. You just click one file, and you extract it. And if you don't know how to do that, you can Google that on YouTube and show you how to extract an archive, and then extract it into a folder of the same name, and it'll give you all the images. Whoop, there they are. And so after you do that, what I did, I use Photoshop. If you can't afford Photoshop, there's a lot of free ones out there. GIMP Shop is a Photoshop clone that's totally free. You can download that one and install that one. GIMP as in Paul. shop, and the GIMP shop program is wonderful. It's just like Photoshop. You load in the images that you need, and what I did is I went page by page. I deleted all the pages that were nothing but text, and I saved only the pages that had charts and tables on it and things, and I cropped each one, and I just named them whatever the table was, table 1.1, table 6.8, or whatever the case, and I named them what they were, and I opened up a brand new sheet in the photo imaging software, and I loaded each one in. I said, you know what, I want to put all the combat ones on one pane. I opened up a sheet that was 8.5 by 11 for obvious reasons, and I loaded each little graphic in there. I sized it up so it was large enough I could see it and position it, and then I kind of, I played Tetris and kind of moved them all around to where they made sense, and I kind of sized them accordingly and saved that all out as one image. And I did the same for the rest of the table. So my Dungeon Master screen is custom made. It has all of the tables that I need, actually all of the tables from the player's handbook. I didn't miss a one. I've got them all. Every table I need is instantly available to me at the game table if you want to go that route. But as you guys have been watching me, of course, you know that I do use the software as well. So whether you're going old school and using a, you're looking up your data that you need on your DM screen, or in combination to me, I bring a laptop to every session. It has my audio on there. I can play my audio. I love playing D&D with audio. I've been collecting audio files forever. And I have them sorted by whether it's a sound effect or it's a music file, whether it's ambience, like a tavern ambience or a forest ambience or a desert soundscape or things like that. So I can very quickly load them up. And I also have a Bluetooth remote for my laptop. So as I'm walking around the table, explaining the story to them, to the players, so that they have a good idea of where they are, what's happening, kind of lay the foundation, whet their appetite, get them engrossed in the game. As somebody is saying that they're gonna do something in particular, I have it already dialed up. I just have my hand in my pocket. They don't know I have the remote in my pocket, and I hit the play button on the remote, and the sound is triggered remotely. It usually freaks people out, but I like watching people freak out when they say, I'm going to shoot an arrow, and an arrow sound comes out, It's very interesting. So, but anyways, I do that extensively. I would encourage you to make your own screen. I did find some that were commercially made that were actually fairly close to the one that I had made after the fact. But like I said, I prefer the custom-made ones. And of course, then when you're done, you just print all that stuff out on a heavy cardstock. I double-sided mine. I put like on the back side, I just put like snapshot covers of like the books, like the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and stuff like that. Just to kind of dress it up a bit, so that the players see all the wonderful artwork from the D&D universe. And then on the flip side, I have them taped together, are the charts, of course. And then, of course, you can tape them together, panel by panel by panel by panel. Excuse me. And so that way, then it folds up really nice. And if you ever have any trouble, you can just very, very quickly touch it up with a piece of tape if it needs a little bit of help. And I've been using that screen forever. I've never damaged it. It's in full color. It looks great. Anyways, very quickly, I just want to run through a couple other things. Answer some fan mail on the Twitch thing. People were asking, as far as like NPCs, how I roll for like reaction. Yes, I do. I do roll free actions on NPCs if it calls for it, and there are some instances when I don't roll if it's an NPC that maybe is in the module, and the module will usually explain to you what they are, how they are to be handled. Some modules even say to hand over the NPC to a player at some point in the module, so they can run it as a second character sheet. And so so the answer is yes and no. I do roll if it calls for it, and usually I don't if it doesn't call for it. And that's just a DM judgment call. You just have to assess the situation. If there may be a conflict in personalities, depending on the kit, the class, the alignment. Like if you're introducing, maybe it's a chaotic neutral or chaotic evil or something of that nature, and the party is mostly good. then of course you may want to roll for the reaction and things like that. One other question in the Twitch, answering fan mail. Somebody asked me as far as fudging numbers. Yes and no. Normally I don't do that. I like to see what the numbers will usually tell me. Oftentimes I will roll secretly in confirmation to maybe a player roll, which is usually, it's very unique. If you start actually doing that, it's kind of creepy in a way, because of the fact that oftentimes whatever the player rolls, when you do a secret roll without them knowing about it, especially here on Roll20, it doesn't make a noise, they don't hear it. You'd be surprised, because a lot of times those numbers will actually come up and mirror what the player rolled. So but in a situation when there's a high percentage chance that somebody may be killed, and you don't really want your players constantly rolling up characters, especially if you're nearing the end of a module, at least try to get them through the module so they can get the XP, and then if they do die, they can roll up a new character and then just transfer over the XP for that. Fudging numbers, I know some DMs will do that. Yeah, on occasion. It depends how many drinks I've had in my system. I might fudge a number here and there. But anyways, they'll never know. Of course, my players that are here listening have their fingers in the ears. They didn't hear me say that. It's not a big deal. Lots of Dungeon Masters do it. It's not uncommon, and it's just whatever the situation calls for. They were one number off. They needed one for success. Sometimes I'll basically just say, yeah, you got it. It's close enough. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty easy Dungeon Master. I like to move the game along. I don't like to get hung up in semantics and things like that. Here we use the honesty system. We encourage using it. That's what's nice in playing with a group of people who know the game, have been playing with the game. Not that I don't have anything against like newbies. I do enjoy, teaching people how to play the world's most popular role-playing game. But as far as this group is concerned, it's comprised of people that have been playing for a while. I don't have to worry too much about people like min-maxing and all that kind of shit. So we checks and balance each other, and you will hear players calling other players out. Well, that's not really the way it goes. It goes like this, and I'll go, yes, he's correct, or yes, no, he's not, or don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, or whatever the case may be. So that's just the way we roll here. And I do two things that are different. Sometimes I make private rolls public, and because of the honesty system, and sometimes I do make players make a DM roll, just for the sake of, and sometimes you'll hear me, why don't you go ahead and slit your own throat. I'm not going to be responsible for the death of your character. Go ahead and make that roll on your own. Even though it may be by the rule book for me to roll that separately or privately, I will sometimes just for the fun of it, have them roll them. So I'm not responsible for them, for their own demise. But then again, it goes back into fudging numbers. If that's something that you want to continue to roll privately as stated by the rule set, whatever it is that you play, then of course you can fudge those numbers, and yeah, you made it, no, you failed, whatever the case may be. And sometimes the adventure module will tell you that they must all the player characters must all fail to advance them through the storyline, but then something happens later on, especially if it's written by Gary Gygax, and something happens and it's all good, and so everyone lives happily ever after, blah blah blah. So anyways, alright, I hope you guys learned something with that, and I hope it helps you out, especially when you're playing D&D, and it'll make you